Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cisco and Aspire Technology Partners webinar on the benefits of SD-WAN. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great session prepared for you. I am Pam Adriano, Director of Marketing here at Aspire, and will be your host for today. A few housekeeping items before we begin. Everyone in attendance is muted, so we can fully maximize the insights of our presentation. The webinar is being recorded. All attendees will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. The recording will also be available to watch on our website, aspiretransforms.com. Please use the Q&A feature on the bottom right side of your screen for any questions you may have for our speakers. You can choose to view your view by clicking on the layout icon located at the topmost right-hand side of your screen. We have two excellent speakers today. Brouillette is the Cisco Meraki Channel Account Manager for the Northeast. He is a seasoned channel sales leader with over 20 years of experience. Bob Lesher is a pre-sales solutions architect at Aspire. He has 18 years of enterprise IT experience with a broad range of pre-sales and network engineering expertise. He is a veteran with Cisco networking, security, design, development, testing, and deployment. Before we start, please allow me to tell you a little about Aspire Technology Partners. Aspire has headquarters in Eatontown, New Jersey. We have local operations in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, as well as White Plains and Albany in the state of New York. We work with our customers for their business transformation by leveraging the power of digital to achieve their defined outcomes. We act as an extension of IT teams through our managed services and provide innovative and actionable industry perspectives for our client partners. Aspire's core strength is anchored on our dedicated team of experts delivering advanced technology solutions and services that revolve around our core practice areas. Our teams of experts are composed of certified solutions architects and engineers, our project management organization and delivery teams, managed services, and Aspire's customer success team that help our customers maximize the value of their IT investments and enable them to meet their business objectives. And now, please welcome Aspire's Bob Lesher. Bob?
Hi, thanks for taking the time out of your day to, we're getting a little bit of feedback here. That's about. Thanks for taking your time out of your day today to listen to the benefits of SD-WAN. Today I'm just going to be discussing, some of the details and around SD-WAN and why Meraki may or may not be a fit for you. So, first and foremost, what is SD-WAN? And really, why should you care? Is it right for your organization? And how will it benefit you and your team? What features are available? Well, my goal today is to answer many of these questions for you and just give you a little bit more information around, Meraki SD-WAN. So, simply put, SD-WAN is the future of network technology. Software defined in general is really the future of networking and the future of network technology. So when you get into the details of SD-WAN, it's really a shift from the traditional networking approach of, sitting there doing redundant automated tasks, worrying about injecting errors into your configuration and your upgrades and your deployments. So the days of just sitting behind the black screen with the green font, banging away at the keyboard, hoping that you remembered everything in your scripts to have the updates go off flawlessly are really gone, especially with Meraki. I remember at one of my jobs in the past that I had a large task of several hundred routers and switches to update. So it all started off with identifying all of the devices, which at that point in time, we kept everything on a spreadsheet. We kept usernames, passwords, all that information on a spreadsheet. And sometimes things were missed. We had folks that would come and go, and everything wasn't always up to date. So the usernames, the passwords, sometimes that was a challenge remembering all of them. Well, that's not an issue anymore. And then once you actually identify your devices and hopefully have the right username and password, you'd have to go out to the vendor site, make sure that you got the right version of code for each one of the devices, download that, then actually log in, upload the code that you just pulled down, and then you have to find your outage window, hope that you have an engineer available to help you with this task, especially if it's a large task, and then actually going through, create your script, push all of it out, and hope that everything doesn't break in the process. There was a lot of tense moments in my past that I was sitting there waiting for that ping to respond, just so I could get back into the device and not hop in my car and drive that 100 miles. Well, a lot of that is a thing of the past. It really is. Since Meraki has come about, all of these tasks really are as simple as checking a box, selecting a time, and then just walking away. And it will be done in many cases when you sleep or whenever it's convenient for your organization. Next slide, Pam. Thank you. So is it right for you? Is SD-WAN a good fit? Well, every organization is here at Aspire. We really strive to understand your business requirements, your drivers, your user requirements, your application requirements. And then, once we have a good understanding of what it is that you need to make your business perform optimally, we put a design around that and custom tailor it for your environment. One of our goals is to future-proof your network. And with Meraki, that's really simple because scalability is simple. If you need to add to your SD-WAN deployment, it's really just, creating another subnet and checking a box for full mesh VPN to bring that site into your SD-WAN deployment. So we also like to look at many other factors. One of these other factors is maximizing your IT spend. We know that you don't have unlimited budget. So when you spend any amount of money, you want that device to be around for years to come. You want that device to scale. And more importantly, you want to get the most out of it that you can. With Meraki SD-WAN, with the MX appliance, you can collapse multiple devices into that one device. And you get your return on investment almost immediately because now you don't have multiple subscriptions to worry about. You don't have multiple devices to take care of, manage, electric, everything kind of collapses into that one device. You can also reduce cost by the removal of need for more expensive circuits, like for instance, MPLS, and use a cheaper circuit. Another thing that really most people don't think about is your monitoring and managing applications. So, there's multiple applications out there that folks use to watch your environment, and you hope that you get the alert. Well, that's built right into the dashboard. Meraki was designed with this in mind. There's also additional troubleshooting tools. So the days when you had to get your tech and have them hop in their car and drive top speed out to a remote location to try and understand what's going on and resolve an issue is no longer a problem. You can access your dashboard literally from anywhere with the internet connection, even from a smartphone, and look and see what's going on. So if you lost a circuit or a circuit provider is having an issue, you'll be able to see that because the dashboard will give you that information. It's all at the tip of your fingers. So one of the other and last points that I'll hit with this is the highly skilled engineers. A traditional SD-WAN deployment takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of configuration and design time with highly skilled folks. I'm not trying to take anything away from any engineers, but the ability to do the same deployment or a large-scale deployment with Meraki SD-WAN is simple. It's really, just creating the subnets and checking some boxes. I mean, it's really simplified, and the need for like a CCIE or a high-level engineer is greatly reduced. Next slide, please. So some of the benefits of SD-WAN. First and foremost, redundancy. With a branch office, if you deploy SD-WAN, you have the ability to have carrier redundancy, circuit redundancy, diverse paths if it's a critical site. When you're talking speed, the speed that I'm referring to isn't necessarily a circuit speed. It's the speed to provision a new circuit. So with MPLS, you have all of this back-end design and build that has to go on, at a carrier level. And it can take, several weeks to months to get that circuit turned up. Let's say that you're in a situation that you need to turn up a new location in a short period of time. Well, if you can get a cheaper circuit, it's simple. You simply plug it in, and the hard design work and configuration build is done for you on top of these simple circuits. Zero touch deployment is really, what I'm getting at with simplicity. So from the time that you purchase Meraki, you get a sales order, and you can start building out your device with that order alone before it's even shipped. So if you have multiple sites and, time is critical, as soon as you purchase Meraki, you can start building out those sites. Configuration of these devices is simple. As soon as they arrive at these locations, when you plug them into the internet, it will reach out to the cloud and pull down the config that's destined for that device. So it really makes life simple. One of the things that really comes to mind with this is during COVID, I've worked with customers that had locations in Canada and Mexico. Some of the challenges during COVID were you could not cross borders. Even to this day, there's issues with crossing into Canada. So if you need to get equipment out to these locations and get it configured, or, you have an issue, with Meraki, it's simple. You simply purchase the device, ship it to the location, and once it connects to the internet, it pulls down that configuration. Or, your remote troubleshooting tools. You don't need, engineer with a whole lot of experience to, dig into the problem or to help troubleshoot. Many cases, you could just have smart hands at those remote locations helping you trying to figure out problems if it is, in fact, a cable or a circuit issue. And then security. Security is super important. Every morning when I wake up and I read the news, it's another malware attack. I read one this morning. I believe it was the Senate was attacked. A week or so ago, it was the pipelines. Every day, there's more and more security incidents happening, ransomware. Well, Cisco Meraki is built with security in mind from the ground up. It wasn't an afterthought. It wasn't something that was bolted on to an existing device. It was built with security in mind. But the real value that you get with Cisco Meraki when you start talking security is Talos. Cisco has one of the most advanced threat intelligence databases on the planet, and that is Cisco Talos. Cisco Talos essentially uses Cisco devices as sensors, and in many cases, they'll have a good inkling that a new form of malware or ransomware is in the wild before most folks even realize that it's happening, just because of the amount of devices and the amount of threat intelligence that they gather. Next slide, please. So, going through, just to kind of step through everything again, your design is greatly simplified, through the Meraki dashboard. Your configuration, you have a nice web interface. It's very simple to get to from anywhere, that you have access to the internet. Provisioning, you have the zero touch provisioning. Just simply send your device out, and once it connects to the internet, it will pull down that configuration and be ready to go.
Hey, Robert, I have a question. So I know that SD-WAN, would work in situations wherein an organization may have 3, 5, or many branches. Just wondering, what would be the ideal size for an organization, or how many branches should there be for SD-WAN to be most effective?
And well, every situation is different. So an ideal size, mobile locations, obviously, but an ideal SD-WAN candidate is, it can be unique in most situations. I believe the number is 6 or above. However, in certain situations, I don't know that I'd rule out any amount, above 2. However, 6 and above, I believe you get the most value out of that.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just to go back to the features here and to kind of recap, management and monitoring, again, you're able to manage your devices from your dashboard from anywhere in the world with internet connection. Monitoring, you have a robust set of tools built right in, which allow you to monitor anything in your environment. You can see all the way down to a client level. You can see, it's amazing the amount of detail, which Gil's going to get into that with his demo here in a few moments, and really dig into the abilities and capabilities of the Meraki dashboard, and then troubleshooting, even all the way down to a cable troubleshooting. You can test the cable remotely from the Meraki dashboard, and then again, security. It's built from the ground up with security in mind, with Talos in the back end. Go to the next slide, please.
Great, Rob. So I think we are ready for Gil to give us a demonstration. Take it away, Gil.
Hey, good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
Awesome. Hey, hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. And so what I want to do is show you some of the things that Bob talked about, kind of bring it to you with a real live Meraki demo here. I do want to say, though, that our goal at Meraki has always been to take very powerful technology and simplify it, right? We're not talking about simple technology. We're talking about the very powerful technology that both Meraki and Cisco bring to the marketplace, but simplifying the management of that. So I'm going to show you a couple things that Bob talked about. So what I'm showing right now is the Meraki dashboard. So I don't know, some people may be familiar with it. This may be new to some people. But this is actually a live Meraki network in our San Francisco office. And this is the client page. And normally I spend a little time here, but today, since we're focused on some other things, I'm going to bring you through some other parts of the dashboard that you may or may not be familiar with. So the first thing is Bob talked about zero-touch deployment. So whether it's 1 site, 10 sites, 100 sites, 1,000 sites, 10,000 sites, how do you configure that equipment? How do you get it staged? And how do you send it out? And how do you, install that at the remote locations? We make that extremely simple. So I'm in our organization tab right now on our dashboard. I'm going to go to our inventory tab. And immediately what comes up is a complete inventory of the equipment that I currently have in my network. So I want to add new equipment to my network. So I'm simply going to go over here to the claim button. Okay. And the little box here, I'm going to enter in a Meraki order number. So when we take the order, we will ship you the Meraki order number prior to the equipment even shipping from Meraki. You can simply enter in that order number here, hit the claim button, and all those devices will populate into your inventory. So it's as simple as, again, putting in the order number, claiming the devices, populating them into your inventory. Once they're in your inventory, you simply go to the devices, and in this case here, I only have one device, but if I had multiple devices that weren't configured, they would show up, and I would be able to go in and configure each of those devices. So I could configure them individually. I could create a template and apply that template to multiple devices. We actually have some third-party applications that are available where you can actually leverage those third-party applications to help with kind of bulk configuration as well. So I then go in. So again, I see my device. It's not active, but I can actually see it. I can go in here and I can start my configuration. I can start the addressing of the device. I can create my site-to-site VPN connections. I can go in and configure the SD-WAN parameters, right? Pretty simple here. Here's my WAN links. Here's some of the statistics that I have. Again, very, very simple. My policies. Again, with just a couple of clicks, I can go in and configure that device, save that configuration, and when that device shows up at the remote location, the user simply plugs it into power, plugs it into their internet connection. The device will reach out to our cloud, pull its configuration down, and then come online. It's as simple as that. So if you have, again, a lot of remote locations, you have a limited IT staff, right? This alone can save you so much time and provide so much value to your organization. So I wanted to show you zero-touch provisioning. The other thing I wanted to kind of show you as well. So Bob talked about updates and feature updates and having to go out to the manufacturer's site and pull down a configuration and possibly connect to that device, whether it's locally or remotely, and upload that configuration and schedule that configuration. Well, if you look down here on the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, it says firmware. So currently it says that my firmware is up to date. So that's good to know. If there was an update pending, we actually push those updates out. We'll let you know what the current version is, and we'll also let you know when that's scheduled to be uploaded to your device. You can accept that, you can deny it, you can change the time, but you don't have to do anything. We push this information out to you automatically. All these firmware updates also include any new features that we have for the devices. So during the lifetime of your Meraki license and your Meraki device, we will provide you free updates to every new feature that we have available that is supported on those devices. So I wanted to touch on that little piece too, just so everybody can see how simple that is.
And I can tell you, back when I sat in the chair doing operations, that I would have killed for that feature. Every time, there was a security patch that came around and we had to go out there and update, 100 devices or 1,000 devices. It would have been so nice just to have been able to check a box and forget about it. A lot of nights.
Agreed. I want to touch on another thing that Bob talked about, some of the remote troubleshooting tools. So this is actually a list of the switches that are currently active in our network. I'm just going to click on one of the switches here. And so I get a nice graphical representation of the switch. I can see what clients are connected to the switch. I can see what the usage is. I can see where it's physically located. All of my networking information is over here. And again, firmware, right, tells me it's up to date, right? Again, if there was something pending, it would let me know that something was pending. But I want to go into just a couple of the tools. So from here, as simple as that, cable test. Bob talked about running a cable test. So I can actually test a cable to determine whether or not that cable is good. So, what type of time and trouble can that save you being able to do this remotely? I can cycle the port. I can blink the LEDs if I'm working with somebody and trying to identify a specific port or switch or device that we want to work on. Maybe it's a network closet that has 20 or 30 devices, right? So I can do packet captures. There's a lot of stuff that I can do sitting right from my dashboard. Again, as Bob said, from any location. So the last thing I want to get into very quickly is, so Bob talked about SD-WAN and the benefits of SD-WAN. And one of the benefits is obviously if that internet connection should degrade and not provide the optimum experience for your clients or for your application, right? SD-WAN will dynamically shift that application over to a path that does meet those requirements, right? But so that's great. So the application stays up, your clients are happy, no issues there. But what happened to that other SD-WAN link, right? Why did that happen, right? Is it something that's happening intermittently? Is it a chronic problem? How do you identify and how do you troubleshoot that problem, right? Because it's great to have it switch over, but if you don't identify what the problem is, you're going to continually be, bouncing your applications back and forth. So what I wanted to do is talk about something called Meraki Insight. This is a software application you can add on to your MX appliances. And what it does is it actually monitors the health of the web application. So I'm just going to kind of pull the screen up here and just go through this very briefly. So we're constantly monitoring any web application. You can pick them from a list of web applications. You can define your own web application and your own parameters. But we're looking at things like latency, packet loss, jitter, on both the local area network, the wide area network, and we're also looking at the application response time, right? So here's a list of applications that we currently have running in the Meraki network, right? And right away I can see that CCW is giving me a problem, right? So I can click on that. It should come up, hopefully. And so this actually gives me in real time what the performance is on my network. I can look at the WAN performance and see what's happening. I can look at the servers to see what the response time is. I can see what clients might be affected by this. So I have all this information available to me to begin to start to troubleshoot and isolate and resolve the problem on one of my circuits. And again, this can be done with any web-based application, whether it's a commercial application or whether it's your own internal application. All it has to be is a web application. Commercial applications, we have a list of parameters that will pre-populate for you on what the manufacturer or the vendor determines as a successful client interaction. You can tweak those and you can create your own parameters for your own applications. So I just wanted to kind of give everybody a brief insight into zero-touch deployment, touch on some of the tools that Bob talked about, and then show you some of the tools, the troubleshooting tools that are available to help you identify, isolate, and resolve any network problems as quickly and easily as possible. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Pam.
Before we get back to Pam, how much time do you think Meraki Insight saved all of the Meraki customers yesterday with the CDN outages?
Probably quite a few, right? Because we were able to identify it, and they were able to identify that it was not a network problem, it was not a WAN problem, right? It was actually the application. And we've actually done that internally, where I think it was Google Docs had a problem, and we were the ones that actually contacted Google and let them know that they had a specific problem with not all of their servers, but a handful of their servers. And we're able to resolve that, and help them resolve their problem. So these are the types of insights that our platform, our networking platform, can deliver. Again, to identify, resolve, and then optimize your network.
Thanks, Gil. I think you did a great job.
That's awesome. I have a few questions that came in, Gil, but before that, maybe I can switch. You can unshare so I can switch over to my screen here. I know you have this pretty cool announcement that you'd like to share as well to the audience on free Meraki easy trial.
Awesome. Yeah. So, so Meraki has a free trial program. So you can work with your Aspire team, their engineering and sales teams. They can help you put together a proof of concept. They can work with us through the process, and basically we can actually ship you out free, no obligation, no cost, brand new networking equipment where you can actually try it to see if it works, to see if it meets your expectations. Hopefully it does. The Aspire team and Meraki will both help provide support to get that up and running. Typically, we can, from the time when you engage the Aspire team to when you actually receive the equipment can actually be about 48 hours. So think about that, you want to try something, you're not quite sure if it's going to meet your needs, right? In about 48 hours, you can actually have that set up and running and determine, is this going to meet my needs or is this not going to meet my needs? Again, no obligation. Simply, if it doesn't meet your needs, you work with Meraki and we arrange to have the equipment shipped back to us. Again, it's as simple as that. So I would encourage anybody that maybe is looking at a technology like SD-WAN to work with the Aspire team. Let's get a little proof of concept set up, maybe with one office. Excuse me.
And just
get that out there and try it.
Just to add to what you said there, Gil, this isn't limited to SD-WAN either. Meraki has a full suite of products. Meraki switches, access points, sensors, cameras, and the MX appliance, which is a firewall, or it can be used for SD-WAN as well. we'd be more than happy to help you try out any one of these products if you'd like.
Yeah, so great point, Pam. Thank you.
Actually, yeah, I was wondering too, does Meraki SD-WAN require a special kind of licensing?
Great question. Great question. So an interesting story about SD-WAN. So we introduced SD-WAN about 6 years ago into our MX appliances. And again, anybody that had an active MX appliance got that feature for free. So that's not something that we charge for. We added that feature. We upgraded everybody's firmware, and overnight, anybody that didn't have SD-WAN automatically had SD-WAN the next day when they woke up. So SD-WAN is supported across all of the Meraki platforms, and it's supported across all the different licensing models. There are some enhancements when you go to an SD-WAN Plus license. So the software I showed you, the Insight, the application monitoring, that is part of the SD-WAN license. You still have all the full SD-WAN capabilities across all of the licensing, even from the low tier to the high tier. It's just some additional analytics and troubleshooting tools that you have at the higher tiers. You can add them a la carte to the lower tiers if you want to do that, but the basic SD-WAN functionality is contained in every Meraki MX appliance, and it's there for free.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think we're reaching top of the hour here, a little bit extended, but this is really great insights, Gil and Bob. You know, for the audience, if you want to continue the conversation, please do reach out to us at info@aspiretransforms.com or give us a visit at our website, aspiretransforms.com. Again, Gil, thank you for being with us and providing such a great information on Meraki SD-WAN. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.